afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you here today on behalf of PMI KSA chapter. Today, we are talking about big data and AI for decision making, presented by Fadwa AlBawardi. She's a Saudi Arabian entrepreneur and digital transformation consultant. She's certified in strategy and business planning professional from USA. Today, business author and IT performance management senior consultant with 21 years of an experience. Please welcome Fadwa AlBawardi.
Thank you very much. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Can you hear me well? Okay, good. So we will start. My presentation today is about big data and artificial intelligence in decision making. So I am from Generation X. I have witnessed a lot in technology. I have witnessed a lot since the Industrial Revolution, the fourth Industrial Revolution started. I was there, I was a student. However, in our assignments, we were required to work with databases, and it was still a new industry worldwide. So today I'm going to take you in a journey which goes through the Industrial Revolutions until today's fourth Industrial Revolution, which doesn't stop. We have a future fifth Industrial Revolution, which we will go through as well. And then I'm going to talk about some important concepts that are related to big data and artificial intelligence. It's very important to look at the whole technology in a strategic way. It's important to know how the different technologies and the different trends relate together when it comes to big data and AI. Technology is not working in silos. Everything is integrated together. So this is what we are going to see today. And then we will go through some 3 use cases for how we can create value out of big data. And then we will end up with defining what is data strategy and why we need it and why does it matter when we talk about big data. So first, in the 18th century, that's when the first industrial revolution started. It started with water and steam as the main power sources for machines and industrial processes. And then in the 19th century, we had the second industrial revolution, which had oil, electrical energy, and steel as the main power sources for machines and industrial processes. Technology, when did it start? It started in the 20th century. And that's when we started to have semi-automation with the third industrial revolution. And that's when we started to have the first computer. And that's why it is called the digital era or the first computer era. That's when we started to have databases, simple databases. And that's when we started to have networks. And then the fourth industrial revolution, which we are living now, this is where we have more advancement in technology. This is where big data, this is where AI, this is where we have other technological advances such as cloud computing and robots and drones and other technologies. Now, I would like to mention that some people think that we are living now in the peak of artificial intelligence and in the peak of technological era. However, this is not true. There are 3 stages for artificial intelligence. The first stage is called narrow artificial intelligence, or ANI. ANI, which is the narrow artificial intelligence, that's where we have reactive AI advances. For example, if we are playing chess and we have a robot playing with us, it just knows how to move according to our moves. Or if we have autonomous cars, this is where the cars start to drive according to the way that it is designed by humans. However, in the next generation, which we are having now, which is called general AI, AGI, this is what we are starting to witness now with ChatGPT, with ChatGPT 3, 4, 5. And this is where we can see the advancements, where now we are talking to platforms, to robotic platforms, and we are getting the answer in seconds. But however, this is not the end of it. We are going to have soon something called super artificial intelligence era, or ASI. ASI, this is the peak of scientists, what the ambition of scientists is looking for. And this is where robots are going to have the mindset of humans, and also humans will have some chips embedded in them as the experimentation that now is being done in order to match the technological enhancements that can do good to the health of the human beings. For example, if a person is having some vision problems or hearing problems or mobility problems, it is now under experimentation that using technology they can insert a chip, and this chip can actually help in improving the health of human beings. And this is where the future industrial revolution is. This is the fifth industrial revolution, which we are almost there. We are not there yet, however, we are almost there. So this slide, as you can see, it has a human typo, and it is meant to be a typo. I have repeated the word context twice, and this is for a good reason. I'm sure if ChatGPT is reviewing this kind of slide, this typo would never happen. So the first word is web of content, not context. So if we are going to focus on the slide a little bit, this shows the present and the future. So it talks about the fourth industrial revolution and the fifth industrial revolution. We are having so many webs. The first web, it started with the web of content. And what do we mean by that? This is when we started to have emails and text and pictures and photos and videos. And then we emerged into web of communication. That's when we started to have social networking. This is where we started to have e-commerce. And then the web of context. The web of context, this is more sophisticated. If we are talking about virtual shopping, for example, this is one of the examples of web of context. And then the web of things. The web of things, we are now talking about industry and how we are using smart manufacturing in as well as technological advancements. So when we are talking about the IIoT, which is the industrial Internet of Things, that is when things are becoming very advanced. We are talking about digital twins and how digital twins is a technology that is being used now in many industries, including aerospace. And then the web of thoughts. The web of thoughts, this is what is going to happen in the fifth industrial revolution, the future one. This is where robots are starting to become more like humans. This is where we are expecting in the workplace to have humans and robots working together and doing work together. I don't think that the fifth industrial revolution will have a risk of people losing their jobs, because the main concept of the fifth industrial revolution in the future is to have both humans and machines working together. So this kind of harmony, this is what is being looked at in the future. If we are going to talk about big data and artificial intelligence, where is big data needed? Big data is needed actually in about 24 industries. There are 24 industries worldwide that need big data and artificial intelligence. For example, if we are going to talk about healthcare, as you know, now we have robot surgeons. We have predictive analysis, which can predict the models for the future diseases based on the current diagnosis. If we are going to talk about defense, we have now some sensors, camera sensors, that can detect if there are some arms or weapons that are approaching a place, and it can, in a second, send notification to the people and predict whether this is going to be a crime or it's going to have a major disaster in the place or not. If we're going to talk about agriculture, there are now robots that can sense the status of the soil and can determine if it needs water or if it's not. And it automatically can generate the whole agriculture process very efficiently, and many more. Now, the concepts that are related to the big data and the AI, as I mentioned, as they are all complementary. If we are going to talk about big data, as simple as that, what is big data? Big data is a term that is, we are calling it when a data exceeds 1 petabyte. 1 petabyte, which means 1 million gigabytes. That's when we can call the data as big data. If you are going to talk about the 5 V's for the big data, it includes, of course, accuracy and speed and others. And big data, of course, we call it to label data that is structured, unstructured, or hybrid structured. There is a very important terminology which is called data as a service. If you know SaaS, software as a service, this is something more similar to it. There is data as a service, and we call it, when we have big data, and this big data needs to be stored in the cloud, needs to be processed and analyzed on the cloud. This is like a service that is provided by third parties. It can help to reduce cost, it can help to increase efficiency, and it is an amazing service. And this is going to be the new trend that is going to be used everywhere. As you all know, when we talk about cloud computing, there is physical servers which host and store the data, and there is the cloud storage where we send the non-confidential data to, and there is something called hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud, what we mean by it? We mean that some of the data resides physically and some is being on the cloud. Also, when we talk about the big picture for how big data and artificial intelligence work together, we have to mention quantum computing. Quantum computing is a technology trend which is now getting very much familiar, hand in hand, we can say, with artificial intelligence. How is it different than the normal computing? As you know, the normal computing, it depends on transistors that have either value 0 or 1, and we keep on changing that, 0, 1, 0, 1. However, when we talk about quantum computing, we are talking about a terminology which is called qubits. Qubits, it means that we have 0 and 1. So it is much, much faster. If you're going to think about how the processing is being done, it's much, much faster. The quantum computing right now is still under testing because the error rates is actually higher than the standard computing, and this is what needs to be improved. However, the quantum computing is very much needed when we talk about artificial intelligence because we need to process huge amount of data, big data, in a very short time. Now, when we talk about digital economy, and this slide is the actual big picture of everything, I like this slide very much. I use it as a reference in a lot of my work. Digital economy, as you can see, we have the new business models, we have the key enablers, and this is where we have data and big data, as well as the digital strategies and regulations, the digital infrastructure, and the digital skills. So this is where data and big data reside within the digital economy. It's a key enabler. If we are talking about artificial intelligence, where does it lie? It's here. It's an emerging technology. Artificial intelligence, as well as IoT, as well as cloud, as well as 5 and future 6G, as well as robotics, cybersecurity, metaverse, and so on. If we are going to talk about digital transformation pyramid, it starts with the digitization, and this is the simplest form. This is where we have paper and we'd like to change that into systems. No paperless, no manual work. This is digitization. Above it in the pyramid, we have digitalization. Digitalization is where we improve our business processes, not just have systems. No, we have to think how we can improve and enhance performance. And then digital transformation, this is the whole strategy of how an enterprise or even a country think about its own objectives strategically and how we can leverage technology in order to reach these outcomes. And as you can see, the digital transformation trends, there are so many trends here, like faster connectivity, multi-cloud, as well as increased investment on machine learning and artificial intelligence, and edge computing, which is another technological trend that is very, very closely related with big data. Now, if we are going to talk about some use cases for artificial intelligence, everybody's talking about ChatGPT, so I'm not going to really dwell much on that. However, the only thing that I would like to mention is that when I tried ChatGPT, I wrote one question. I said, what does it take for a country to become ranked as #1 globally in artificial intelligence? I got the answer in less than 2 minutes. And it's like 7 steps. If a country does it, it will become #1 rank. So that was very, very impressive. So, I mean, ChatGPT is really a strategic planning tool. Now, another example for big data, if we are talking about telecom, Telecom, as you know, many people are using the data. So if you are looking at the device usage data, telecom companies can actually make use of that because they can actually help in generating brand new revenue streams and deliver value marketing. This is very, very important because it includes the location, it includes which websites you are visiting, which products, and so on. And also it can help on the other side. It can recommend to the users what are the products that they are interested in, and so on. So it's both ways, and this is how we can make use of big data. Another example is for retail stores. If there are some retail stores that have branches worldwide, then third-party companies can actually provide their services to these retail stores, and they can actually tell them if a consumer enters your shop and they are looking for Wi-Fi signal, we can actually check the pings, we can actually check that, and we can tell you how many failed connections, and you can improve your network. So you can imagine if there is a retail store that has branches worldwide, how that will be beneficial to improve the business. Now, creating a data strategy, why is it important? My colleagues before me, they have talked about the importance of having cleansed data, and this is very important. When we talk about digital transformation on the very, very top layer, we have to go and check the bottom layer, which is having a data strategy. If we have a good data management framework, that will help us to have cleansed data that can help us in decision making, that can help the algorithms for artificial intelligence to learn much quicker and more accurate. So what do we need when we think about data strategy? It's very important to think about DAMA, because DAMA, this is the framework that is being used in Saudi Arabia. So when we think about data management, there are some very important classifications that we need to have ready for the data. We need to have data cleansed quality. We need to have data secured. We need to have the privacy of data. We need to have the availability of data, and so on. All these factors are very important in order for us to have a valid data management in place. And accordingly, this will help in having our big data cleansed, and we can use it much efficiently with artificial intelligence and machine learning. So the data strategy in 7 steps, what do we need to do? These are the steps that we need. It's usually, it's working on the enterprise layer. I would like to mention one of my experiences when I worked with artificial intelligence. There was a project during COVID time in Saudi Arabia, and this project, I was part of the quality team where we had to have an algorithm, machine learning, in order to predict the number of COVID cases in Saudi Arabia, and compare it with the available ICU bed occupancy, in order to make sure if we are going to run into a crisis or not. This was a mega project. It was done between Ministry of Health and Sadaya at the time. And at that time, being part of the quality team, I just realized how much we need to have big data in order for the machine to learn. It wasn't sufficient to just have a database here and there. We need to feed the machine. So this is the first lesson that we learned in order to make the project successful. And as well as we need to make sure of the quality of the data. So during this time, we had to do a lot of cleansing at the data sources in order to end up with cleansed data. So that was a very rich experience. The conclusion is essential to understand and fully utilize the power of and the capabilities of big data and artificial intelligence, and to understand the big picture, how all the technological trends relate together and they are not in silos, as well as there are so many examples of AI implementation through big data, such as ChatGPTs, robotics, predictive diagnosis, and so on.
Thank you, Fadwa, for the amazing, informative presentation. It seems like we got the attention of the audience at the end of the day. So on behalf of PMI KSA chapter, we would like to thank you and express our gratitude for your participation today. And we hope to also see you in the future with more informative for these gentlemen to, to feed their knowledge. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's all.
شكرا.